Hey everyone! You might have noticed that the rate at which I post videos has considerably slowed. There are a lot of reasons for that, but the biggest one is that I started making a webcomic on Webtoon. Now, considering I had just started making digital art in April of last year, a webcomic was a huge undertaking. But I finally have a few chapters out and would like to make this video documenting the progress in accordance with this channel's description. In the fall, there was a certain large democratic event in the United States that dominated most conversations. Half as a joke and half a desperate plea for a better system, I made an offhand comment after watching a debate that our elections would be more entertaining as a reality show. And thus, the president-elect was born. Like any decent storyteller, I set off to do some research. I found the Pew Research Center to be immensely helpful in not only describing different political stances in an objective way, but also breaking down each issue by typology and population. I then used this information to create candidates that I felt represented the general public and also objectively choose the winners for each debate. Just because I'm creating a comic about a dystopian nightmare doesn't mean I can't inject some personal improvements to the process. For example, you'll notice the characters do not explicitly belong to a party. This is intentional. Instead, the episodes are issues-focused, chosen in order of importance according to how strong the consensus of the general public is. Now, for character creation, I picked 18 candidates because that is the number of character designs I already had from some of my other projects, and it's roughly 1/5 of 100, which makes scaling the proportions somewhat easy. They're not based on any particular politicians, but the arguments they use are real, so there may be some accidental coincidences with likenesses and stances. For their names, I use a celebrity name generator to get some punchy ones, and then I set to work. You'll notice, aside from gender expression, and even that in some cases, their features are mostly generic and/or ambiguous. Their weights are all average, and they are all able-bodied. This was not an intentional exclusion, but as I'm still getting used to drawing and their appearances are meant to be generic, I opted to use opposing software to achieve the paper doll type effect. There's a very minor amount of skin tone variation and some height variation, but no explicit race or sexual orientation. This is not to say that they are all straight white cis males, but I wanted their stances to be more prominent than their identities, as my personal ideal for a presidential system wouldn't include voting for a person at all. Now, I mentioned earlier that these candidates are not associated with a political party. This is true, with the caveat that they are associated with a political typology. For example, according to the Pew Research Center, 13% of the population during the 2016 presidential election fit into the core conservatives typology, so 3 of the candidates have a spread of issues such that if they took the political typology test, they would have gotten the result of core conservative. I'm a little embarrassed to admit I took their test probably at least 100 times trying to make sure my spread of stances and typology results reflected the general populace. If you pay close attention to their clothing and stances, you might be able to figure out their typology. However, some of them will be eliminated too quickly to say for sure. And that's about it. The President-elect has 2 chapters out on Webtoon, and you can expect at least a dozen more to close out this set of issues. Be sure to check it out, and I'll do my best to release some more content on this channel soon.